Caner Universe, Joe Robaina, founder and director of Ameican Self-Defense. Welcome to those of you who are here to the channel, new to the channel for the first time, and a big cane bump to the loyal troops who follow us every week. I always remind you, don't forget, if you haven't done so already, to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss any content. This week, we are talking shop, and the question is, what makes one a caner? That term that we came up with and now gets thrown around everywhere. What does it mean to be a caner? And really, like the shirt says, caner for life. What are the characteristics? And is it having a lot of canes? Does that make us a caner? Well, you can be a cane enthusiast and you're a collector of canes, but you don't necessarily engage in caning, and that's what we're gonna quantify. We can have a lot of merchandise and all these cool shirts, and even be part of forums online. That's all part of the cane culture. But what does it mean really to make the cane training a part of your lifestyle? And so there are characteristics, and I'll outline some of these for you. The first one is that, well, you actually carry your cane with you just about everywhere you go. Now, some of you may need to, you're using it as a mobility device and you need it to ambulate, and that's one thing. There's another group out there that, well, you carry your cane because you can, and sometimes those merge and they overlap. I need it for balance, I need it for mobility, I need it because I feel more secure, more confident when I go out there. And oh yeah, by the way, I use it for protection because I'm trained, and there's the key word, I'm trained to do so, right? So all the advantages of the cane are assuming that they're in the hands of a trained individual. If you're using it for exercise, then you know how to exercise safely with that, right? And so the first characteristic is that it always seems that there's a cane handy, whether it's in the vehicle, you have it strategically, maybe you have a couple strategically placed around the house. And I talk to caners all the time, and we have one by our bed and we have one that's behind the door, and so there's one that's for the vehicle, and that's, there's one that I use when I go out. So yeah, that's all part of it. So hanging around with your cane is actually one of the secrets of getting better with the cane and increasing kinesthetic sense with the cane, right? But that's one characteristic. There are others. The second one would be, are you making time for cane training? Caning is about doing. Caning is not just about going into a meeting and then having this conversation. Caning is about doing, and it should challenge you. And this is why. The challenge is what leads to progress. If it doesn't challenge you mentally, it doesn't challenge your brain. Caning, by the way, if you're following our curriculum, ACSD style, is brain training. How important is that as the years go by? So it's challenging you physically, it's challenging you mentally, and in that challenge is where you have the progress. Now, making time for caning, if you're thinking that this takes hours, per week, and that it's very time consuming, nothing can be further from the truth if, and that's the asterisk if you have a curriculum, a structure, and a blueprint, and every time you pick up that cane, you know exactly what to do so that you don't waste time, and you're moving the progress needle forward. So if you're doing it that way, then bite-sized pieces, even 10 minutes a day, several, maybe a couple of times a day, you always have a cane handy that you can get up and follow a curriculum and a set of skills that you know what the goal is, and you keep it moving forward. You're always getting better with this. You always know where you are in the timeline of your training. So even a couple of sessions per week, they don't have to be hour long. Hey, if you're into the cane and your session, you're really into it, and before you look at it, an hour easily can go by. But if you're busy and you don't have a lot of time, the key to it is to every time you pick up the cane, you know exactly what you do, make it count. So are you dedicating a portion of your time to caning? Number 3, Are you following a structured curriculum? And I just alluded to it, because making the time, it's a lot easier to make the time when you know what it is you're going to be doing every time and you're following the blueprint. There's something that, it's easier to follow. Now, when I talk to you guys, one of the first questions, do you have somebody here in my hometown, XYZ? And the answer these days is yes, we do. We just in pandemic times alone, we've graduated well over 100 cane leaders, and we've done it online. They haven't come to the headquarters, right, to the immersion trainings like we do. The headquarters is open, but here's the thing. The cane leader in your hometown, regardless of where you are in the States, or you're in Canada or even Germany now, that initial training, chances are they're delivering it online because we embrace the technology, right? A lot of you tell me, I'm just a dinosaur when it comes to technology. And yeah, a lot of our guys that come in first, but they're in that same boat. But with the guidance, we take you by the hand, we lock arms, and we show you how to do it. And then in the process of your training, not only have you become a better caner and now you have something you can follow for life, but you got better with the technology, because here's the bottom line. Whether you choose to embrace the technology or not, it's not going to change the fact that that technology is here to stay, and that these types of trainings are going to be, well, more the new norm, right? What they refer to as the new normal. It's not going anywhere. And so a combination of live experience with this online training, but when you have the structure in place, believe me, caners are surprised at how precise we can be right through the screen. And so, are you following a structure, or are you trying to wing it, trying to piece? Even if you're trying to piece my videos together on YouTube, a phenomenal catalog so that you can see whose message, again, resonates with you best. And then once you've identified your cane guru, well, then ask them questions, and they should be able to outline a plan for you. So are you following a structure? Are you following a game plan? Do you have a game plan to follow? And number 4, are you plugged into a community of like-minded caners, all working towards the same goal that you are? Now, this is different than being a part of cane groups where the topics are random. And so one day, suddenly we're talking about canes, and the other one is demonstrating how he went hiking on the cliff. There's nothing wrong with that. We encourage that. That's part of the culture. But that's very different than caning, again, which is about doing, right? So you're working on a skill set, so is somebody else during this timeline. Oh, and if you type in the search bar, this skill set, boom, you have all this, you have like a network and a community of support. And they have an interest in you getting better because that's part of that culture. Those are the characteristics of caners that are doing, not just sitting talking about it. And if you don't do, and if you are not challenged and you're not progressing, then you're not reaping all the benefits of caning. And so what I encourage you to do, especially if this is the first time that you hear this, and this, well, if this makes sense to you, I'm going to invite you and encourage you to text the letters CCC, which stand for Cane Clarity Call. And what we're going to do is we're going to jump on a call, and we're going to see where you're at right now and see where your interests lie, and see how it is that we can make this a reality for you, to where you're going from an enthusiast or somebody who's on the fence or somebody who's been looking, and maybe you've been watching and following on YouTube for a long time, but what do you have to show for it? What do you have to show for it, right? There are ways to circumvent limitations, but I don't want to blow it up too much for you, but just read the reviews of those that have gotten cane trained with that Cane at Home 6-week challenge, for instance, which the next one starts next week on Monday, October 19th. You're going to have 2 different schedules there, October 19th and one on the 20th, but it all begins with that simple call. And let's find out if that's something that can start you, as it has for hundreds, especially during these pandemic times, in the comfort and safety of wherever you are. CCC, text those letters to 305-745-7839. We also love talking to you. We embrace high tech, but we also insist on being high touch. You can call us at 800-289-8188. I'm Joe Robaina from Ameican Cane Self-Defense, encouraging you and inviting you to participate in this next Cane at Home 6-week challenge. But before you do that, let's have a conversation first, and let's make sure it's a good fit for you. Stay safe, keep caning.